That's what this case is about. It's not a First Amendment case.
That's what she said. I disagree, and we'll see what the higher court says.
Okay.
We haven't tried to pull up C yet.
Yes, we have.
Oh, on the
C
flash
is
drive.
all the stills.
No, I know on the flash drive, but we done trying
Yes.
to do it in here.
Oh, there, no. I've been doing.
Yeah, I knew we were doing it there. I just didn't know.
Now,
I
I'm
know
getting
A works, B doesn't work.
like, we can use our own phone calculators, but because he's a witness, I always bring just a regular calculator.
That's fine.
Okay. I'll just set this for you.
So exhibit C.
Exhibit C, it's a folder that has all the different frames. We're going to be going the 37th second, 13 through 18.
37 second.
13 through 18.
And be counsel, and I understand the formula. Before we get going in all of this, I want to make sure clear we're not wasting everybody's time, particularly mine. That you have a for sure set distance of these bikes that we can then calculate the time.
Let me show you.
Okay.
As he passes the window, we have the frames and we have markings. They look like orange dots, but what really is the rumble strips as compared to the striping. So we can see those. I have measurements for those, but there's another way to measurement that I did it at my office to where we know how long his motorcycle is, and you can see clearly how many dots his motorcycle is. And you apply simple math, and you get the speed as they're passing his.
No, I understand that. It's where they start that you're losing me.
Well, but here's the thing. It's consistent with what they told the officers.
No.
So
I get it, but if I'm going to do a formula,
okay.
I need to know the starting point. And so
Right.
I understand the rumblings. How are you going to count out how many rumblings there are?
You can see them in the video.
Yeah, but how do you know from where they are, how many rumblings to where the truck is at?
To what truck is that?
Where they pass the window?
The window is there, and you see the separation. You see the number of rumblings.
Oh, so you're saying not from there to there. You're talking purely when they pass the window.
Which is perfectly consistent with what they told the officer when they were approached.
All right,
I'm showing that their testimony is consistent with the video.
Well, they haven't testified. But
They will.
okay.
Right. But you're asking,
Yeah.
You're asking offer proof. That's what we're showing.
Yeah. I wanted to know where that starting point was. I was thinking of somewhere out the front window, and I'm like, how the heck are you going to do that?
Okay.
Now I understand. You're using the side shot of the rumblings down on the asphalt, on the shoulder, and the distance.
It's not the
between-
shoulder. It's the center.
It's the center. Sorry.
Yes.
That's going the distance between each rumbling, and as the bike goes across those rumblings.
Right. And we have the frames, so we know that they're all 1/30th of a second. Right.
Yeah, but that's not when the violation occurred.
But Your Honor, when Sergeant Doty pulled over Mr. Silva told him, I had my cruise control set at 45.
No, I understand.
And this is exactly 45 miles per hour. It is consistent with what he told the officer, and it's consistent to what they have. If this was different, that would be inconsistent, and you'd be like, oh, you're full of it. But it's not. It's consistent with what he said. And then if he's going, that would be a pretty huge coincidence if, I had my cruise control set up and just make up a number, and then it just happens to be that the one place to where we can get an exact determination of how fast you're going, it happened to be whatever he made up at that time. That would be statistically not likely. And so what I'm showing you is that for 5 frames, he goes 10 dots. That's it.
While he's passing the patrol car.
Yes.
Got it.
I'm saying at the time he passes the patrol car, he was going almost exactly 45 miles per hour.
Which we agree is not at the time that the radar went off.
True.
Or the visual.
True.
All right, that's where you were losing me for. I want to know how, because I'm thinking we're going to measure the time of when the officer visually and then radar confirmed the speed. No, what we're looking at is the time that passes and they actually pass the setting officer.
Right.
What their speed is at that time. And what you're telling me is after they see the officer to the point where they pass the officer, they're doing 45. And I don't know how that's a real relevant.
It's relevant because it's consistent with what he told the officers.
I haven't heard of it.
Well, yes, okay. Why don't we ask the question? We'll just ask the question. Sergeant Dogan, when you pulled over Mr. Silva, did he tell you how fast he was going?
Yes.
And did he tell you it was on cruise control?
Yes.
What was the speed?
45.
Okay,
Okay, that's why I just
Awesome.
trying to get wrapped around here.
there we go. Okay, so at the 13th frame of the 37th second, right, we can see the tire of Mr. Montez's motorcycle, correct?
I'm going off of what you are saying.
I'm looking at this.
I see a tire, yes.
Okay,
I just
and then you see these what look like orange dots, correct? But it's
I
like
don't-
there's a gap, there's a little orange paint, and then a gap, orange paint, gap, paint, gap. Do you see that?
I can
Okay.
kind of see that.
So you see his motorcycle is directly at the edge of the end of this particular dot at this point, correct?
Roughly, yeah.
Okay, could you move forward one frame, please? Okay, now it's directly at the
Yeah,
edge.
so can you come show me? I understand what you're doing now. Can you come show me? I can't see, I can see where there's different highlights and.
Oh, you can't see it there. You can't see it there at all.
I can't.
That screen doesn't show it. It just shows a line. Here, let me use my laptop.
So what we got is what I'm looking at are like dots of yellow, right? Highlights of yellow.
You can't see it on your. Oh, can I go around there?
Yeah, come around.
Let's
Yeah,
go
I want
around.
to make sure I'm accurate here, what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm seeing is I'm seeing yellow,
Okay.
high where it's brighter.
Yeah, go back one screen.
Thank you, Aaron.
No, back two screens now. No, the other way. No. There we
Okay,
go.
just talk to me.
See here. There's yellow, and then there's darker. Then there's yellow,
Got
and there's darker. Yellow, darker, yellow, darker, yellow, darker. Yellow.
Okay,
See?
got
And this here is at the edge of this one yellow patch. Orange square, whatever you want to call it. Right here, the motorcyclist. Now move forward one frame, please. It goes exactly 1, 2, and now it's at the front of this one. Move forward another frame, please. So it goes 2 dots in 1 frame. Then it goes right here. 1, 2. Move over another one, please. There you go. 1, 2. Oh, wait, did you move it up?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now move up over another one.
So he's
You
slowing.
go till 18.
So he's slowing down.
He's not. He goes exactly 2 every time.
Oh, back it up.
1, 2.
Back it up. Let's see.
Okay.
Because that one was a 1.5. So let's go the first one here. So
Okay, so here's theirs.
right. So
So you see
front-
the edge.
Yeah, I can see the
You
front
see
of
the
the tire.
edge. The front tire is right there at the
Right here.
Well, where the tire hits the pavement right here, it curves a little bit, it's right at the edge. And then you go one more. There it is, right at the front of this edge, where the tire hits the front. We're looking at,
Okay.
this is the spot you can see is where the rubber meets the road, right?
Yeah, but the other one isn't.
Yes, it is.
Go back. No,
I will.
I don't think it is. I think it goes.
See how it
straight.
curves around here? Curves here, and it's right there, and that's right at the edge here.
It's before, right? So right here, right? Is
No,
what
that
I'm
would be on the other side. This comes around here.
right.
Okay, let's zoom it.
So
Can we zoom it?
yeah.
Here it is.
So it's clearly before that stripe. I think it's, on the
right,
second
it's
stripe.
right. See here, here's the orange that goes here and a thing.
Right.
Orange
So
here,
it's before
thing,
it.
and then orange
Clearly
here,
before.
and it's right here.
Yeah, it's before.
So where here's here.
Yeah,
right?
It's splitting the two
And then we-
lines.
I think it's extremely close to that orange dot, if not right on it. And then you go another one, and let me see if I can just do it this way quick. Right here, 2 dots. 1, 2, and it's
3.
right from here.
No, from right here.
No, it can't be from that dot. See, here's the thing also, Your Honor. He is moving forward at this time. So it's going to add a dot let me just show you. He's right here, but then he moves forward. See, at this point with his mirror, there's only one dot there. Now, when you move forward, there's more. See, you see more of a dot here? And so it's really 1, 2, although you see this dot, but it's underneath his mirror. But you can see it more because he's moving forward. But if you do it relative to just the dots, then here you go. It moved 2 forward. You just have to focus on the motorcycle and the dots and not what's now coming here.
Yeah, I don't see it, counsel. I'm not gonna be convinced by this testimony. I'm just not. I'm telling you, it looks like he went 3, 2, 1.5. We'll click.
I don't see how you could possibly. Even the officer, when I said this here, he's like, yep. I mean, he saw it too. We saw the same thing, and we saw it differently than you're saying.
Yeah, I'm looking at what I'm seeing.
It's a pretty big coincidence that this comes exactly. Okay, so here it is. There's the orange dot, and then there's this motorcycle, and the wheel comes around, and so the rubber meets the road right here. And then if you move forward 1, rubber meets the road right here. So it went from here to here in 1 frame. And then you go again. You went from here to here. Rubber meets the road right at the beginning of this orange dot, right there. Then you go from here to here. Oh, there it is again. Rubber meets the road. And then you do it 1 more time. Boom, 1 more time. Now this time it's a little bit on top of the dot, but it's still 10 dots right there. That's 10 dots. And we know exactly, if you go to exhibit O and P, we can do it relative to the motorcycle, which is what we did before. We know that between each of those points is exactly 13 inches.
And how do we know that?
I'll show you. There's a measurement. Go to O and P at the very bottom. Yeah. I made this measurement myself this morning. From the beginning of the groove in the center of those dots to the next one, it's exactly 13 inches. Each one of those is 13 inches for 1. And we have 10.
Okay.
13 times 10
Hold on, let's look at your picture.
is 130.
So I just get that in. So from edge to edge, so we're outside of the hole here, so we go to where the hole starts, so I got 12. Counsel, come up, maybe you can shed some light. This is what I'm seeing, let me explain it correctly, right? This tape measures on the outside of the hole, correct?
No, it's on the inside. There's the hole here and the hole here.
Right, the hole comes right.
Yes, the hole's right here. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
right
on the
here.
outside of the hole.
It's on the very center of the hole.
No, the center of the hole would be right here.
No, it's not. That's the shadow going this way. This hole comes around all the way around here and around here.
Right.
So I'm measuring right here. This line is supposed to be the center of the hole.
Got it. No, I'm talking the starting point.
Yes, but it's the starting point at the edge.
At the edge, that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
So we go to the edge here, and that's where you're saying 13 is?
Yes, see, here's 14, here's 13, there's the edge.
Okay.
12 would be an inch before the edge. 13 is the exact edge. Look at the other picture, it's a little bit clearer. I wanted to have it at the 2 angles.
Yeah.
Go to the next one, please. There it is. Right here to right here, 13.
Well, I think it's 12 now. Whatever. Are all the holes all identical that?
They are consistent, the grooves vary slightly, but I went to where it was and they were all right there. They were all right there around the 13. Look at statistically, like what's the probability? What's the probability? 13 inches times 10, because he went over 10, correct? right? So we have the 13 inches, that's 130 inches, correct? We wanted to make that to feet, we'd simply divide it by 12, because there's 12 inches in a foot, correct? Could you please punch in the calculator, 130 divided by 12?
10.8333.
10.83, and then the 3 is repeated, correct? Okay, so we now have them traveling feet, 10.83 till infinity, feet in 10, right? Which it's 2 each, right? So that's 5 frames. So in 5 frames, they travel this amount of feet, correct? There's 30 frames per second, 30. So each one of those frames, the 5 frames is 1/6. Because 5 over 30 equals 1/6. So this is 1/6 of a second. So in order to get the feet per second, we would simply multiply this by 6. Could you please multiply that by 6?
Sorry. 10.83 times 6.
Times 6.
64.9.
64.9 feet per second. I actually have the Google, you can look it up. But to make a feet per second to miles per hour, you would simply multiply this by 0.681818. In the flash drive, actually, we have that calculation from Google, or that formula. Could you multiply that by 0.681818, please?
44.38, or I'm sorry, 44.318168.
318168. Right under 45 miles per hour, almost exactly. Now, what is the statistical probability of Mr. Silva just making up a number, any number? In fact, that's a weird number to make up because it's 45 and it's a 55 zone. That's weird. What is the statistic probability that he can tell the cop on body cam, I was on cruise control at 45? Cruise control. He did not observe any depression of the force. He did not observe them decelerating rapidly. He testified to that. There is no evidence that they were not going at constant speed. But somehow, based on what we have, the best thing that we have, and because of the parallax effect, I'll explain that in just a minute in some questioning. It's almost impossible from the cameras, if not impossible, to determine exactly how fast they were going. That's not something we can do, right? I tried. We couldn't do it. It was inconclusive, right? The ranges were crazy ranges of how fast they could have been. All right, and I'll explain why in just a minute. But what is the statistical probability? 45 miles per hour, he says, and then it matches, and there is no evidence of deceleration. We can do this another way too, because we know that his motorcycle was exactly 7 of those knots. His motorcycle was 7 of those knots. We can do that math. We have it. 7, this we get to cross multiply. Remember this from algebra? If you could pull up the exhibit with the Harley Davidson. It's exhibit G. Let's do this again. A second way.
Yeah, because, counsel, listen, the problem I'm having is the markings, how far they are apart, looking at the tape measure. I think it's shy of 13 inches, but still. And then starting that first frame where the bike is over the marking based on where if you look at the picture of this motorcycle, right, the tire is hitting the asphalt, would be hitting where you're inside the brakes, right?
Would you? I
Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
If I look at this picture,
but let's.
okay,
Okay, I'm coming around.
Yeah, if I look at this picture,
And this picture is much more difficult to.
Got it, that's what we're dealing with. I'm looking at this picture, where does the rubber meet the road?
Right here.
Right there, there's a
Yes.
gap, I see white.
Yeah, well,
Where you're pointing,
I
see
got a
white.
thick finger. If I
Are you
had,
talking the point? Yeah, it's way underneath the foot, it's almost underneath, it's after the brakes, right?
when a tire's on the ground,
Got it,
it isn't on a point.
I'm
It's
absolutely-
compressed and it's right there.
got it.
Right, but the rubber meets the road right
Would it
here,
be
and there's a
least-
section here.
It'd be with where the brakes are at, correct?
It would be somewhere here
Yeah,
to here,
yeah.
and I'm saying that I see it from there.
The brakes, and so if we go back to your picture, do we see the brakes?
The problem is that's not right by it.
I know, that's what I'm saying, I'm having a hard time, I understand, I think your math is brilliant and how you're doing it.
And there's another way to do it too.
Yeah, so I just wanna make sure though that I am correct on what I'm looking at, which I'm having a hard time seeing, and like I said, I get your math,
Let me show you another way that
Okay.
maybe helps us out a little bit, okay? If, pull up that motorcycle picture. And we go down to dimensions of the motorcycle, the length of the motorcycle. This, I printed this off of the, if you go a little bit more, it's gonna give it millimeters. Go a little further, further, please. Eventually, it's gonna say dimensions. There, stop please. The length is 2,320 millimeters.
Got
Okay, so we've got 2,320 millimeters, and if we convert that to inches, it's 91.33858 inches. There's an exhibit that shows that calculation in Google. It's the millimeters. There it is, right there. You can look it up in Google yourself. 91.33858. Now, if you'll go back to the picture of the motorcycle by the dots, the still. This is the 17th frame of the 32nd second, or 37th second. It's in the folder. Exhibit C. So it's 3717, the last 4 digits. Okay, zoom in. Would you not agree that motorcycle is approximately 7 dots long? From here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 dots long. Where did I put my mouse? If in fact,
Well, it's shy of 7 marks. That's because it's at an angle, it's shy of 7 marks. I just want you to be clear what I'm looking at.
I see it a little differently than you, but would you at least say that it's really close?
Yes.
7 to 10 equals 91.33 to x. Are you following the algebra? If that motorcycle is 7 dots long and he travels a total of 10 in 5 frames, and
So
the motorcycle
let's
is...
do 7. 7 times 13 is what?
Why are you multiplying
Oh, I want to
7
make sure that it's correct. 7 times 13 is how far?
7 times 130.
130.
That's the math we just did.
The 130, right?
Yes, and that's 130 inches. Divide that by 12.
Right, hold on. But the bike isn't 130.
No. It's 7 lengths and it's 91.33.
How long is the bike?
91.33 inches.
Right, but you're saying it's 7 dots. 7 dots is 130 inches. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It doesn't.
Divide 91.33 by 7.
Hold on. Hear me out. 7 dots. That's what you're saying the bike is. They're
Yes.
13 inches apart. So what's 7 times 13?
Oh, I don't know the answer. What is 7 times 13?
91.
He's correct. 91.
It's 91.
91 inches. All right. And so the 91 is that also the length of the bike, and you convert the centimeters to the.
Yes, 91.33. That's the other exhibit. Cross multiply 7x equals 91.33 times 10. You simplify for 913.3 equals 7x. You bring over the 7. X equals 913.3 divided by 7. What's 913.3 divided by 7?
One hundred and 130.47142.
130.47142. That is inches. Divide that by 12, please, because there's 12 inches in a foot.
10.872618.
0.872618. If you could then multiply that by 6, because it traveled 10.87 inches, or sorry, 10.87 feet in 1/6 of a second. So 6 of these would equal 1 second.
65.23.
65.23.
5708.
5708. Multiply that by 0.681818. The conversion rate for feet per second to miles per hour.
44.
44.47.
8879.
8879. Right under 45. What is the statistical probability that the number that he just made up and told the officer on the body cam, with there's no evidence of deceleration, we have that testimony, he did not recognize the deceleration. The forks did not compress, which if they were speeding, that would make sense. That happens all the time. But that number almost exactly matches what was told on the body cam on that day.
All right, let's go back to the math, just so I understand it. You have 7/10, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Where does that come from?
The bike length is 7 dots. There's 10 dots total. So 7 to 10 is the ratio. If that's the ratio and these 7 lengths equals 91.33 inches, we then put an X under here and we solve for X.
Okay. All right.
So, and that would be how far it was traveled in those 10 lengths. This is the amount of inches. See, this is the bike length that is 7, and it traveled 10. So 7 to 10 is equal to 91.33 over X.
So the bike is 7.
7 lengths, 7 dots. Yes. And that is also equal to, the bike doesn't change. The bike is a constant. The bike is also 91.33 inches long, which is the same here. So if there's 10 lengths, we have to see how many inches were traveled within 10 lengths. Then that means our variable is X. 10th grade math, algebra, then cross multiply. 7x will equal 10 times 9.13. 7x equals 91.33 times 10. Simplify. 913.3 is what equals 91.33 times 10. Equals 7x. We bring the 7 over. X equals 91.3.3 divided by 7. Simplify. X equals 130.47142 inches traveled in 1/6 of a second, because we have 5 frames. We convert that to feet per second by dividing that by 12, 10.872618, to feet. Then we multiply that by 6, because these amount of feet, see, this is inches, this is feet. The bike traveled 10.87618 feet in 1/6 of a second. So we have to multiply that by 6 to get feet per second. We could also do 0.16666666. That would be the exact same. But that's the way it is. Then 65.235768 feet per second equals 44.478879. You can put it in your Google calculator. That is the feet per second. That is the miles per hour. And what are the chances? If I'm somebody riding a motorcycle, I get caught allegedly speeding, and I immediately say, I wasn't speeding, which a lot of people probably do. There is no evidence of deceleration. The officer himself testified that he saw none. He cannot remember any. Zero evidence of deceleration. And Mr. Silva says on body cam that day, on July 26, 2025, I had my cruise control set. It was set. We're going to hear from him why it was set at 45. We're going to hear that testimony. We're also going to hear why they were staggered, because the officer is incorrect. You're going to hear that Mr. Silva had a little bike problem.
All right, so then let's hear it.
Right, but still, well, what are the chances, statistically, that he can make up a number if it wasn't true?
Well,
And then it matches the math.
I got it. This is
Right.
all closing out. Do you have any more questions for that, sir?
Just a moment. Okay, number 5, the fifth thing from your training. Relative motion observation method. Do you know what that is? It was 16 years ago, I get it, right? Okay. So that's where you look at a stationary object and then you compare that to a vehicle to estimate the speed, right? So any stationary object. So you could use one of those markers, you could use whatever it is, right? Did they tell you about the flaw, the enormous physics flaw in relative motion observation? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did they talk to you about parallax?
Parallax.
Parallax. It's also known as the paradox distortion.
I think it's when things are far away distance-wise.
Yes. Yes. So when things are far away distance-wise, and let me just walk for an example. If things are 500 feet or more, right? Because if it's 64 miles per hour, they were like over 700 feet away. That was a long way. 45, they were just over 500 feet away, right? At 59, they were just over 600 feet away. But if you're that far away, and I am walking perpendicular to you, can you estimate those speeds? Well, the answer is yes. It's much easier to, because I'm walking perpendicular. But if I'm that far away, 500 plus feet away, and I'm coming towards you, is it more difficult to estimate speeds coming towards you, to where the line of sight is parallel with the motion of the vehicle?
You would have something fixed to it, right? You have some form of reference that's stationary to compare it to.
Right. And so if you have something, say we've got one of those lines, right? And the vehicle is going perpendicular to
The road
you.
marker, right?
Right. So yeah, road marker. And it's traveling perpendicular. That is much more accurate than if here's the road marker and I'm 500 plus feet away and I'm coming towards you. That's more difficult to judge, correct?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Right. That's paradox. And that is parallax and the paradox distortion. That's the physics, right? And so clearly they taught it to you because you remember enough of it, right? Right. So were they coming more towards you, or were they more perpendicular to you?
Towards me.
Okay. So any of your visual estimates then, because of parallax and paradox distortions, would have been less than accurate, correct?
Harder to judge.
Very much harder to judge, correct?
Yes.
And if we add that to your
Scale.
you know, the scale of margin of error,
Yes.
right? You would agree that the 59 miles per hour, that's not accurate, correct?
I felt like it was accurate.
Okay. But when you put in the paradox or paradox and the parallel distortion, right? And the margin of error, right? Are you like extremely confident in that number?
Confident.
It was your best guess, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so it was your best guess. Okay.
Counsel, how much longer do you have? It's 1:13. We
Well,
need to
I'm
take
on
a
page
break.
9 of 35.
Well, then we need to take a break.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna take an hour lunch. We'll come back. What do I have this afternoon?
If that still was still done, we have that, if the heat doesn't get it.
Okay. How much more do you have of Sergeant W?
Oh, I'm about half done.
All right, let's take a break and let's go to lunch. and then we'll resume back here.
I might be able to go a little faster through this, but the next questions all go around possible biases.
Okay, and
Okay.
and we'll deal with that. Let's be back here at 1:30.
Thank you.
Start at 1:30. All right.
So this is very unique, but to have an officer on the stand for 3 hours is highly unusual in a civil traffic case. So you need to wrap up your questions with the officer,
Okay.
try to mimic the argument, save that for your closing, and get to your clients, get them on the stand. Let's get, if you are going to, you don't have to, obviously, and let's get through this, okay?
All right. I just wanted to touch on one thing before we do that, Your Honor. You mentioned that
But you can
saw-
do that at closing. Let's get right? Unless it's a question for the sergeant. Yeah, no, I got it. I understand. You're gonna do that in closing, right? I'm not,
Okay, I just wanted to run the numbers with what you saw.
I
What
got
you
it.
said you saw earlier,
got it.
right?
But
Okay,
we don't need
Okay.
to do that in front of the sergeant. Let's get him,
all right,
let's get him back. He's, like I said, there's only 9 of the officers here in this town, and
okay.
when he's here, there's less, right? There's one less.
So Sergeant, you live in Moapa Valley, correct?
Correct,
Small town?
correct.
Okay, how big is it?
Like geographics or population?
Population?
Between Overton and Logandale, probably 7,000 people.
Okay, so everybody knows everybody pretty much?
Mm,
No?
It's a general saying, small towns, but I don't know everyone.
Okay. How did you feel when you learned that members of the Mongols Motorcycle Club were coming to Moapa Valley?
No different than a Tuesday.
Okay, so you didn't have any bias towards them at all?
No, sorry, I need to stop shaking my head. I'm sorry.
Okay. Do you believe that Mongols Motorcycle Club, just by their associations, are more or less likely to commit a crime?
No, in fact, yeah, no.
Okay. We'll just move along on a few of these then, if you answer that way. Were you specifically waiting for Mr. Silva and Mr. Montes to pull them over?
When you frame it like that, no. But I was doing traffic, like if they had ridden by, and I didn't have probable cause or reasonable articulable suspicion, I wouldn't pull them over, and I would stay right there and run more traffic.
Did you hear on the radio that they were coming?
That 2 motorcycles were coming, yes.
Okay, is that what you referred to when immediately after?
Yes.
You turn, I didn't
Oh,
finish.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
I could have said
Sorry.
anything now.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
yeah, you're right, you're
All
right.
right.
My apologies.
Is that what you were referring to when immediately after you turn on your body cam, you said, quote, "I got those motorcycles"?
If that's what I said on body camera, I remember saying something similar to that, yes.
Okay. And you said those motorcycles, not 2 motorcycles, not some, but you were specifically saying those motorcycles.
That's what I
correct?
said on body camera. I would trust you, and that's what I said.
Okay, and so just for the court, if it's at 37 times, not in the body cam itself, it's at 37 to 40 seconds if you want to look at that. The radio traffic when you were pulling them over, were they discussing the Mongols event?
Yes,
Okay. So it was certainly on your radar, right? No pun intended.
it was,
I
yeah.
can't believe you laughed at that.
That was a
That's
good
okay.
one. That was a good radar. Or
Yeah.
That was a good joke.
Right. And you don't remember any of the other officers that were visiting? Any first names, last names, anything?
There was 2 squads, if I remember.
All right, how about McDonald? Does that ring a bell?
McDonald,
McDonald. Well, clearly not. How about Donaldson?
Donaldson, yes,
So Donaldson was there.
yes.
Are you aware that Mr. Donaldson is currently being sued for fabricating evidence against the Mongols Motorcycle Club?
I have no knowledge of that lawsuit. Or
Okay, but
specifics or-
Donaldson was here, correct?
Yes,
Okay. Was Donaldson the one that gave you the briefing?
yes,
Oh, and so was Donaldson the one that instructed you on how to gain intelligence on the motor or the methods to use to gain intelligence if they were pulled over?
I don't know if he was the specific one that did it.
But that was done at the briefing, correct?
Again, I was on the phone. The information wasn't really pertinent to me because I thought like I will be in a supervisor position, so I can kind of like supervise and float
Okay,
if that makes sense.
okay. Now, did you order your officers to get Mr. Silva and Mr. Montes off the bike?
I don't remember. I don't think so. I remember I wanted to focus on the citations because obviously I can't delegate that to another officer to do.
Well, why can't you delegate it to another officer?
Because I'm the one that witnessed it, that I'm the one, I don't know if the radar certified, I'm the one that did the radar, right? I'm the one that, I can't have someone else write those tickets.
So I see this all the time to where multiple officers have to write tickets at the same time, and it just simply says, Sergeant Doty did this, blah, 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 good job, and then they sign it. Have you never done it that way? So are you saying the first person who witnessed it?
I don't want to testify the affirmative or negative when I
Yeah,
don't
and
have
counsel,
the.
how's it relevant?
Okay,
I mean, he's the one who saw it, he's the one who issued, I don't know how.
okay, that'll come up soon. So Exhibit J, at 45 seconds. I'll just ask you, did you know that one of the officers under you, before they got them off their bikes for their questioning, said he wants them off the bike?
I had a lot going on. I wanted to get these guys off and going because it's hot outside, obviously in the middle of July. So I didn't want to delegate it. I want to focus on the speeding citation or citations.
Okay, so
Did I?
go ahead. Did you want him off the bike?
No, I don't remember saying that, but maybe I did on the body worn cameras, but
Okay.
I'd have to refresh my memory.
So immediately after that, and this is on your body camera, over the radio, it says, stopped on the freeway. Are you going to pat those guys down or just leave them on their bikes? And then you say, or do you remember responding to that? We're making a plan right now to be able to field interview them and take them off. Do you remember that?
Vaguely, yes.
Okay. So you said we're making a plan to field interview them and take them off, correct?
Vaguely, yes.
So that would include you.
Weird. Yeah, but like my primary responsibility is the citations. That's why you don't see me doing any of those actions, right?
But you're the sergeant though, correct?
I am the sergeant, yes.
So did you direct those actions?
I don't remember specifically.
Okay, but if you say we, that would include you in that group, correct?
Yes. Yeah, when I say we, it's me.
Okay, and did you say that? Of course, we can run the video.
Yeah, I'll just trust you in the fact that you reviewed it and that's what I said.
Okay. Did you have any reason to believe they were both armed and dangerous?
Well, you gotta understand, like loose clothing, humans are humans. You know, I've watched training videos where a female was the primary aggressor. Like humans are humans, so you can't just specify that like just because they fit this that they're dangerous, but like there might be indicators where there's loose clothing and stuff like that or prior history and that might indicate that.
Okay, are you aware that the federal court in 2017 made it extremely clear that LBMPD was not allowed to use loose clothing as an indicator for a pat-down search?
Counsel,
So is he aware? Because Your Honor, if he's doing something intentionally, that goes to bias. So I need to know if he's aware.
no, he was saying when he judges a situation, the risk that's involved.
Right. And he said loose
He's not
clothing.
saying that as a means to pat them down. And in fact, he didn't pat them down as the testimony so far. So what is the purpose? He's just saying it's loose clothing. I assess someone based on danger, like just looking at them.
Did they get patted down?
Think so? I was trying to focus on the citations.
Was that part of your briefing to make sure to pat them down?
As like if you have a reason to, yes.
Okay.
If they're armed and dangerous, I
Okay.
believe they are.
And if Mr. Silva was courteous, that would mean he wouldn't be dangerous, correct?
I contacted them and they both gave me their information. I went back to the truck, did my citations, and then when I went back and explained everything, he was very courteous at that time.
Okay. And
that was after
Mr.
the fact.
Montes was objecting to how he was treated, correct?
I'd have to look at the body camera, but he was questioning stuff, yes.
Right. And that's what you testified before. And so I was just
Yeah.
reiterating.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I don't know, I don't remember specifically what he was objecting to, whether it was the citation itself, the reasons for the stop, or how he was being treated.
Okay. Now I asked this because you put Mongols in the citation.
Correct.
So you put in the citation. but are you aware that both the Ninth Circuit and the Nevada Supreme Court have affirmed that membership in motorcycle clubs, 1% of motorcycle clubs, just like the Mongols, is a protected association under the First Amendment?
I have no clue of that, so I'd have to probably read up on that.
They didn't tell you that in the briefing?
I don't remember.
Okay, and that if you do treat them differently than anybody else, right? So we're talking about treating differently, that you have to pass strict scrutiny. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. The case is Burgess v. Story County, and I'll just read it to you.
Well, counsel, hold on, that's argument. He doesn't know, he's already said he doesn't know. This isn't time to try to inform him on something. This is to ask him questions, not to read him a case.
Okay. All right. Okay. Are you aware that Nevada courts have specifically ruled that wearing a Mongol's patch cannot be used as a factor for whether or not they are dangerous?
Correct.
So you know that, okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're gonna show this. You know, I could represent to you. They were patted down, and I'll show that to you. But if they were patted down, and there was no reasonable suspicion that they were armed and dangerous, it's not an either or. It's and dangerous, right? That would be a constitutional violation by your squad, correct?
If there is no reasonable articulable suspicion to believe that they're armed and dangerous, yes.
This is a
Now,
hypothetical.
Yes.
yes,
We're doing a hypothetical here.
yes, Your Honor, because I'm setting up something else, but yes. So if their constitutional rights were violated, would that show bias by you and your squad?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. If we could pull up Exhibit K, it's at 4058, but it's really at 158 in the video. I'll represent to you that this is one of the officers
So not my
speaking to Mr. Silva
Okay.
and explaining to him.
Okay, so real quick,
Something.
it's a proposed exhibit,
Yes.
and what is whose body cam is it?
Okay, we don't know the answer to the officer. That wasn't provided to us. This was provided by LVMPD as body camera from this event.
All right, and so.
It's one of the officers
Do
under
we
him.
know, hold on, don't push, hold on. Do we know whether or not it is Sergeant Doty's?
It is not Sergeant Davis.
Okay, so you're gonna have him watch this
Right.
and have questions off of this video
Of him and what he did that day. Yes.
of what Mr. Doty, what
Yes.
Sergeant Doty did.
Yes.
Is he in the video?
No. But his officers are doing certain things.
Are these his officers?
No,
The
no.
officers underneath you
No.
here at the stop.
I have 9 officers and none of them, from what I saw initially, were my officers that I immediately supervised.
Were you supervising this stop?
I was the initiator of the stop.
And you're a sergeant, correct?
Yes,
And the other officers were underneath you, correct?
right.
Okay, so you were supervising the
But there was
stop, correct?
other sergeants in the valley besides me.
But you were the sergeant at this stop, correct?
There might have been another sergeant close by, but I'm pretty sure I'm the only one at this stop.
Okay. I would like you to listen to what he tells Mr. Silva, and I would like to know if you know anything about that.
Okay.
And so what is the purpose of this?
Bias. If he knows about it and he's a part of it, it's bias. If you look at it, you'll see how it's.
Okay, let's play it. I'll just let you know, counsel, I'm confused as to how this is irrelevant, but.
Like I said earlier, Your Honor, there are cases that say that a neutral law.
Well, I got it. I understand that.
Okay, so I don't.
Listen, I practice.
It goes to
law.
bias and it goes to the First Amendment and
Neutral law
equal
dealing with
protection.
1 to 10 over. Your argument is that it's not it's an unconstitutional law when applied in the manner.
I'm saying even if you find,
I got it.
right,
I got it. So we're watching a video.
at 1:40,
When is this taking place?
the timestamp is at 39:32. So this is 13 minutes after the initial stop.
Okay.
Is that at 1:48 or 1:58?
When the volume comes on, all the rest you can't hear.
Yes, but at 1:58, the time on the video at 1:58. Otherwise, we're gonna watch stuff that doesn't need to be watched. Right there.
You get the cop that has to come and interview you, take pictures of you, and update the system, right? It's no different than today, okay? You're not going to jail, not dealing with no crazy bullshit. We have 2 more jobs, which is identifying further more with the contact with you, okay? That makes sense to you? Yeah, I just don't, I ain't doing no push. We're just doing what we do every single time we have to talk to the documents, okay? All right.
Okay, that's all.
That's fine, just stick your phone right here.
So did you hear what he said?
Yes,
And the intent, it's an intent, actually, well, clearly their intent, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know anything about that, about documenting or taking pictures or any of the stuff that he talked about?
I know stuff was happening, but I was trying to focus on the citations to get those done.
Okay.
Because I'm not, you don't see me outside the truck. I'm not standing out there watching them. I didn't want to like malinger, and I want to get this done.
But if you're part of the team that's doing this and you're the sergeant there, right? And you had a briefing saying, hey, this is what we want to do. Doesn't that make you part of it?
Part of it, but like, I also have a large portion to be the supervisor out here.
Okay. So we can look at the folder that's Exhibit L, please. These are photographs that were taken. It's a folder. It's not. Yeah. If you just start with the first one, we can go through them. Did you know these photographs were being taken? We can scroll through them.
Nope.
Did you know that they were ordered to take off their helmets, or at least Mr. Silva was?
I don't remember.
Do you know Mr. Silva was ordered to pull up part of his clothing so he could show tattoos?
Nope.
Okay. Do you know anything about why these pictures were taken? Were you part of this at all?
I was focusing on trying to finish the citations, and obviously I screwed up a few parts of them because anyway,
Okay.
that joke
So you agree to making some mistakes?
on the citation. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So do you believe that what you did was in compliance with LVMPD's traffic stop policies?
What can you be a little bit more specific?
Sure, I'll be more specific. That was a setup question, like a foundational question.
Gotcha.
But if you want, if we pull up exhibit, it's the exhibit that's LVMPD policy 5.100. And it's page 9 of that exhibit. It's a proposed exhibit. Do you see that one? Okay. So under traffic stops, it says, in the part that says traffic laws are designed to address.
Where?
Right there, the second line of that first paragraph under traffic.
Designed to address behavior and endangers the public.
So traffic laws are designed to address behavior that endangers the public. Officers conducting a traffic stop are allowed to minimally detain drivers and passengers to address unlawful driving behavior through a warning, citation, or in specific cases, arrest.
Okay.
Now, minimally detained. Were Mr. Silva and Mr. Montes minimally detained?
Yeah.
You finished one of their citations, correct?
What do you mean?
Well, while you're
Oh,
writing-
right,
Right.
correct.
Did you then give that citation to one of them and say you're free to go?
No, I did not.
While they were doing their intelligence activities, you then prolonged the traffic stop to write the second citation before
Correct.
telling one that they were done,
Correct.
correct?
I guess that would be just standard procedure. If you have
Is
a
it?
car stopped, yeah, if you have a car stop and let's say you're riding the driver and the passenger, you don't approach the car unnecessarily multiple times. I guess that time and back and forth to give one ticket and come back and write the second ticket and give it back to them.
So if there were two cars stopped and you finished one, you're supposed to give that ticket to the person and say, you're free to go, and then deal with the second one, correct?
If it comes up,
Okay.
but I think it's more efficient if you just, while you're then and there doing it, because if you close your phone down, you have to reload it back up and then
Okay.
input the same information.
But have you received training that tells you that you have to let them go as soon as you're done with them?
When it's safe to do so, yeah.
Okay, was it safe to hand Mr. Silva his citation and say you're free to go?
Yeah, I would say so, but
So then you violated policy, correct?
I normally practice is just get everything done so that we can just do it at the same time.
Okay, but in doing that, you prolonged Mr. Silva's stop in violation of policy and his constitutional rights, correct?
Minimally, yes,
Okay,
minimally.
okay. If we could go to, it's the one that says constitutional corner training document.
Council, just so I understand, what you're saying is, you believe that it was a violation of the rule because he should have shut down his computer, made the other individual here wait in the heat while he then gave that ticket, gone back to his vehicle, entered that information, and then given, so
No,
is one
no,
or the
no,
other
I'm not
being
saying that at all.
violated?
No,
I just understand the argument,
okay, I'm not saying that at all. You print off a ticket,
right?
leave it alone. There you go. You're done and come back. And this has been the law and this has been the policy of Metro for a long time. And I can show you that.
No, I understand, I just want
And
to,
so,
I want to understand your argument.
and the argument is if he's willing
Both
to
of them are the
violate
same violation, same
Uh-huh.
speed, driving together.
two different
together,
vehicles, yes.
And to cite them
Mhm.
to get them done as fast as possible.
Yes, but when one is done, you have to make.
I
them
understand
go on
that's
their
what you
own.
believe, but go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm sure have you seen this document?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's mandatory training, correct?
Yeah.
Once every 5 years, and even as a sergeant, you are required to train officers on this, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So when it says, can a traffic stop be prolonged? It says answer no, correct?
Correct.
Right. An officer's deviation from their task in completing this traffic stop, even for 40 seconds, could be considered a diversion from the stop. The officer's mission during a traffic stop is to address the traffic citation which warranted the stop. And then it says, when, on the next bulletin, when there is no individualized reasonable suspicion of a crime apart from the traffic stop that justifies stop, a traffic stop may not be prolonged, correct? For even 40 seconds.
Right, I just maybe thought issuing a citation to someone would prolong the second one, because you have to explain the citation, and
Okay.
it takes a few minutes to explain
But
it, make sure
another
they have a
officer
question.
could have written that citation, correct?
And
No,
once
they
again,
can know.
counsel, why is this relevant?
It shows bias.
isn't-
If he's willing to, he's training officers on this. He knows what the law is. I was the attorney that drafted this with Metro that from a court case, Hines v. LBMPD, to where they said, no, officers cannot do this, specifically with the Mongols Motorcycle Club.
Okay,
And he's training officers, you can't prolong the stop. If he is willing to violate Mr. Silva's constitutional rights that is clear from mandatory training, that shows bias. That's why it's important.
okay, you're going to allege bias, I got it. But with,
You don't think that shows bias if he's willing to violate people's constitutional rights that's clear from mandatory training and from the policies?
based on what occurred,
Yes.
right now, I don't know.
Really? So prolonging the traffic stop so that they can continue to take his picture,
I'm not
to
talking
do
about any of
everything.
that. I'm just talking about writing 2 citations for an incident that occurred at the same time, side by side.
On
doing
2
that.
vehicles.
They do that at the state park when a group of people get on and are violating a no trail to proficiently just write the citations, get them done, crank them out. I don't see that as a huge bias. I'm not saying, I'm not making a decision whether it's not right or wrong. But the fact that he was going to write out the 2 citations and explain it to them both, as he said, at the same time so that they could get on their way, to me, that's not some bias. Whether or not it's violating the rule, I'm not making that decision. I'm just
If
saying.
he's willing to
get them
break
done.
the law and break the rules, that shows bias and it shows that he's less credible. If he's willing to do that, that's what I'm saying.
Well, he gave the reason why.
And it still violates their rights. Why do you think they put even for 40 seconds in bold, all caps on the mandatory training? Don't do it.
Look,
They say you're not allowed to do this. Don't do it. He trains officers for 5 years, mandatory training. And don't do this. And he still does it.
he was writing out the citation. I'm not gonna, look, he gave his explanation of why he did what he did. I'm just saying we need to move on.
Okay. At the back, can we go back to the LVMPD policy 5.1? There's one more point to make. That also confirms that. Just to be clear. The policy one. It's exhibit M down at the bottom. LVMPD policy 5.
Right there.
Yes, the same page 9. Starting with officers will not detain drivers or passengers. Just one moment. Officers will not detain drivers or passengers for longer than is necessary to confirm the driving privilege status and to issue a citation or give a warning. That's what it says, correct?
This document that was from August of 2024, yes.
Yes, this is the policy, official policies and procedures for LVMPD. Right?
Yeah, there might be an updated one. This one's almost a year, this is over a year old.
I can promise you this was
Okay.
just given to me 3 weeks ago
Okay.
as the most recent
Okay.
in a different case.
Gotcha.
Right. Do you have any reason to believe that would change, especially given the constitutional corner training document?
We get updates all the time, as you know, law updates all the time.
Okay, but have you read an update that changes what we substantively read?
Not specifically this policy and section and sentence. no.
Okay. Did you receive phone calls during the traffic stop?
Yes,
Okay. Who was on the other line?
I don't remember.
Was it one of the visiting officers or detectives?
It could be, yes.
Okay. What did they tell you?
I don't remember. It could have been one of my officers working the valley on a different call too. I don't remember the context of the phone calls.
Okay. Did you receive a beep and look down at it and say, I know, after hearing the beep and looking down? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
And maybe I can
specifically.
refresh your recollection. On Exhibit B 46711, please.
What's the relevance of that?
I want to know. It's in his body cam. He's the one that said it. I would love to know what that was all about. What was the beep? What happened?
For what purpose? What, he got a beep and you want to know?
If Donaldson is Mr. Puppet Master doing things with Sergeant Doty, that is extremely relevant because I can show you right now off my computer. It'll take 6 hours, but I can show you Sergeant Donaldson intentionally pushing for other officers to do false things and fabricate evidence against members of Mongoose Motorcycle Club. 5. We filed 1 lawsuit in May,
Okay,
right? There's 5. And so I would like to know if this has anything to do with it.
so he doesn't recall the beep. So you're gonna play a video of a beep and that's gonna jar his memory as to what the beep
It
was?
not only is the beep, but his response to the beep and what he says after the beep might jar his memory. Yes.
You told me, you said, I know.
Yes. He looked down and he goes, I know. So clearly, he knew something about the beep. I'm wondering what that is.
Okay, so ask him.
Okay, he said he didn't remember, and so I'd like to show it to him and see if he remembers.
Yeah, we're gonna be done at 4 o'clock. Go
I
ahead,
understand.
go ahead and play the,
I understand.
You know where we're at in the video right now?
Yes, it's at 4:47. Now, if we could just pause it. You're on the phone, correct?
I don't know.
Okay. All right, if you could play it.
That's what I looked up.
Hey, right there. Stop it, please. Do you remember what that was about?
No idea.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right.
Could have been my wife.
Last line of questions for you, Sergeant Doty. Last. Is it possible that you simply made mistakes and Mr. Silva and Mr. Montes were not speeding on July 26, 2025?
I had my radar put up and it read 64 on it.
Okay. Is it possible that you made mistakes? You're not answering my question.
Right.
Is it possible that you made mistakes and they were not in fact speeding?
I'm sure there is a possibility, but
Okay. What if you consider that you certified under penalty of perjury that the infraction happened at 3:48, right? And that was incorrect, correct?
I
So you
missed
made a
it.
mistake.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Does that increase the possibility that maybe you made a mistake that day and they weren't speeding?
No, I don't think me putting a different time increases the likelihood of other mistakes being happened.
You don't think that a series of mistakes would indicate that maybe you weren't as on point as you are on other days?
No, I would agree with you on that.
Okay. All right. What if you also consider that you certified that Mr. Silva and Mr. Montes were riding abreast when the video shows that that's not correct and they were riding staggered? That was another mistake, correct?
Based off my disposition of riding abreast, whether it's a little bit back or forward, I still consider abreast. What I was trying to paint was that they're not in a single file line.
Okay, but that's
The term
single fly is
staggered.
different than staggered, correct?
I don't understand the term staggered when
Okay.
when it comes to motorcycles.
Abreast,
To one degree of another,
okay,
single file,
in single file,
correct.
staggered.
Okay,
Different lanes in the lane, but that's staggered.
at what point is it no longer abreast? And what point does it become single file, right? This is a generality.
Okay, when the motorcycle is behind the other one, that's pretty clear that it's staggered. You really think this is abreast?
It could be, depending on the distances, because obviously this motorcycle's cheating left and this one's cheating right,
What do you mean cheating?
like further off to the left or the center lane and further off to the right to give them a buffer zone, if that makes sense, right?
Okay. Or to give them the best field of vision to be safest.
Sometimes.
Okay, all right, all right. But you said abreast and they were not this, they were this, correct?
At one point in the video, you see them not, or how you explain it to that.
Okay, all right. Considering that you made that error, does that make it more likely that they weren't speeding?
I wouldn't say so.
Okay, what if you consider the extremely short period of time from when you saw them, reacted, and then put your car in gear and decided to go after them? It was less than 1 second when we put it on this board to where you would have visually estimated the speed and gotten a radar, right? If you're doing things so fast, does that increase the possibility that you're making errors?
It could be a factor.
Okay, and what about considering your visual estimate of 59 with the margin of error that you yourself testified to? Does that make it possible that you made some errors and that Mr. Silva and Mr. Montes weren't speeding?
Not with the visual estimations, no.
Okay, what if you can consider the parallax and the paradox distortion? and the fact that it's very difficult to judge speeds coming towards you, what we discussed, does that make it more likely that you made some errors and possible that Mr. Silva and Mr. Montes weren't speeding?
I wouldn't say so necessarily.
Okay. What if you consider the 45 miles per hour speed calculation that we did when they were passing and zero evidence that they were decelerating? You testified you had no evidence that they were decelerating. And just the coincidence that when you pulled them over, he himself, Mr. Silva, told you, I had my cruise control set to 45, right? Does that make it more likely that Mr. Silva was in fact telling the truth and maybe you made a mistake?
I wouldn't necessarily say so.
Okay. What if you consider just possible human error generally with a radar gun?
That's a factor.
Okay, okay, good, we got one. What if you consider that your alleged reading on the radar gun didn't show up on the body cam,
Yeah,
right? Even though other parts in the writing were on the body cam and it was bigger and all that kind of stuff. Is that a factor like
Yeah,
the
that's a
previous one?
factor.
Oh, okay. What if you consider failure to preserve evidence by taking a picture, right? Of any radar reading? Could that be a factor as well?
sure.
Okay. And what if you consider the possibility that the radar gun was not stable? I mean, you did things so fast. I mean, we had that less than a second, and the radar gun wasn't perfectly stable.
Mhm.
I mean, what if we consider that? Could you have possibly just made an error there and not gotten a correct reading?
I mean, it's a handheld,
Right.
right? It's meant to be held by your hand, which is inherently not stable.
But
So the
it's
mirror-
meant to be stable, correct?
Yeah.
It says it in.
Yeah, you're not supposed to move it and wave it around when you're trying to get a reading.
Right.
So
But it was in fact moving at about the time you say you got the reading, correct?
it was not, well, I have to look at my body camera to give you the exact moment, which I believe that was the reading was coming across.
Right.
But there was times where,
You testified you didn't know exactly when the reading
not
was.
exactly, no, I
Yeah.
can't tell you, but I can give you a generalization.
But it could
where
have
I felt
been,
like it.
well, you testified earlier, it could have been in that time when it was, not yet resting on the,
Right,
right.
so,
So that's a factor too, correct? That might show that these gentlemen, right, were not speeding, and maybe you made an operational error with the radar.
I've never used that handheld radar in a way that it showed different numbers because it wasn't resting on my steering wheel.
Okay. But you don't know, you testified earlier, there's no way to know the accuracy of that because you've never actually done the experiment with one that's stable and one that's.
I can't recall, right?
Right, so that would be a factor then, correct? Possible human error there? Like not knowing exactly when the reading was made?
Right, yeah, I can.
Okay, thank you. What if you consider the possible personal biases against the Mongols Motorcycle Club and the fact that you might have, you don't have to admit to anything, but you might have violated their rights, right? Which might show bias towards them. What if you consider that?
What's the question? How is it relevant?
If you consider possible biases that he has with the Mongols Motorcycle Club, is it then more possible that he made a mistake?
You're asking him to take a hypothetical because he says he doesn't have any bias towards him, and that he did. So now you're saying, okay, officer, pretend like you have a bias against them.
Regardless of whether he says he has a bias, I think it's obvious that if somebody, and I'll argue this, but you're the one that brought it up, so I'll respond to you. If somebody is willing to violate policy, violate constitutional rights against our citizens, that doesn't show unbiased. I think that shows bias. And so what I'm saying is that if there was bias, would that be another factor that might play into a possibility that you made a mistake?
Once again, he has said he has no bias. You're asking him to do a hypothetical that if he had bias,
Okay.
well, that's a silly question.
Okay.
maybe I could say that,
No, it's okay.
No, it's okay. What would you like to say?
I
No,
wrote other.
don't tell him what's okay. No, wait till he asks a question, then answer it.
Your Honor, you didn't do that when he was doing it before and trying to defend
I
himself,
did,
but when,
I did. I said, wait for the questions. Well, you were doing a lot of lecturing.
yeah,
And I told you, you've been instructing him not to answer questions until they're asked and
well,
answer questions. So I was informing you, just go ahead and ask questions. So
well,
that's
Your
what I
Honor,
want.
Your Honor, I'm
Ask
gonna
the-
make an objection right now. I'm gonna make an objection to your questions. I'm gonna make the objection because I feel that Your Honor has acted like a prosecutor on the bench. I feel that Your Honor has interrupted my questioning to interject things to where I'm doing a line of questioning and you're going off on different tangents and doing different things. And I do not believe that is proper. This is supposed to be the state versus my clients. This is not supposed to be the judge versus my clients.
It's not the
And I do
judge.
not agree with that.
Let me respond. I am a fact finder. I told you right up front I was gonna ask questions. And I told you right up front that I was gonna ask questions during the course of your examination. I told you that. I'm doing exactly that. As the fact finder, I do ask questions. I'm not gonna sit here just because he doesn't have a lawyer to object to your questioning. Just because he's standing here unrepresented doesn't mean you're gonna abuse the judicial system in questions that normally, if you had a lawyer here, they would be objecting to it. So, yeah, I let a lot of stuff go through, counsel, for your benefit, more importantly, for your client's benefit. And I am still allowing that. But I am not gonna let you to tell a witness to answer a question when I've told him not to answer. That is not going to happen in this courtroom.
Okay.
So go ahead, ask the questions.
What if you consider the fact that so many officers were in Moapa Valley, specifically at a briefing and training, wanting to get intelligence on these gentlemen, right? And everything is wrong. Does that sit right with you?
Listen, what does that have to do with whether or not he got a good read or didn't get a good read on the motorcycles?
I withdraw the question. And Your Honor, I again object to what you're doing, but that's okay.
You've made your
That
objection.
is what it
You've
is.
made your objection.
Right.
All right.
So I have counted of the 12 points that I've gone through, I counted 5 to where you said it could be a factor to where you could have made a mistake with giving these gentlemen a speeding citation. Is that accurate? Is that what you? Okay, all right.
Is that a no?
I'm-
Sorry, I don't know. Sure.
No.
He says he doesn't.
Sure.
I am done with the witness.
All right, let me ask some questions.
Yes, sir.
Sergeant Doty, they came over the crest, is that what happened? Or came down where you got is
Correct.
that when you estimated your speed?
Correct.
All right, and do you believe that you activated your radar at that moment?
Absolutely.
All right, based on the tone that you heard or the situation, do you believe you got a good read on the bikes?
Yes, it said 64 on the radar.
Okay, and you saw that?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Well, I visually estimated 59, sir.
All right. Visually 59, but the radar then said 64, is that
Correct.
correct? All right, do you have any reason to believe that that radar, based on watching the video, watching how it went down, do you have any reason to believe that that was not an accurate read from your radar gun?
I have no reason to believe otherwise.
Okay, so, all right,
You just said that it was possible you made a mistake and did not get an accurate read.
I did not say that.
I'm done.
okay. All right, thank you, Sergeant Doty, you're done.
I don't know, both parties didn't show up, only one party showed up. You want me just to?
Which party is it? The defendant? Yeah, tell them that today was the day
have the
set.
contract?
Yeah, okay,
So we don't need I can let.
no, yeah,
I'd like to call Mr. Silva.
all right, let's go ahead. Go and stand right here, remain standing. As soon as the marshal gets back, I'm sorry, he's gonna swear you in.
Of course. Sure.
Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear the testimony about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
State your name and spell your last name for the record.
William Thomas Kamoa Silva Jr. Last name is Silva Silva.
All right, thank you, sir. Go ahead and have a seat. Counsel, go ahead and proceed.
Mr. Sella, did you visit Moapa Valley on July 26, 2025?
I did.
Okay, why?
I attended a barbecue.
Okay, were you invited?
Yes,
Okay, by a resident in Moapa?
I was.
Okay, did you or any members of your group go anywhere else besides to the barbecue and out?
No.
Okay, did you try to stop for gas on the way out?
Yes, yes, I did at a Shell gas station, and they, on the way exiting the neighborhood, and they didn't have any fuel for us.
Oh, okay, because they were out of your specific route.
Correct.
All right, so you just continued, correct?
Yes,
Okay, did one of the motorcycles behind you get pulled over as you were leaving?
yes,
Okay, did you stop?
yes, we did.
Okay, did you ask the officers if they were stopping you?
Yes,
Okay, what did they tell you?
they said, no, I'm free to go.
Okay, and you were together with Mr. Montes, correct?
Montez was just ahead of me, parked in a blank lot, waiting right there.
Oh, okay. Did you make a decision at that time on how you were going to continue out of Moapa Valley?
Yes,
Okay, what was that decision?
to follow protocol, continue the speed limit and get out of there because there's heavy police presence.
Okay, how many police did you see?
More than 15 on my way out.
Okay, so there were a lot of them there, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so you wanted to mind your P's and Q's.
absolutely.
Okay, did you make a decision on what you were gonna set? Well, first of all, do you have cruise control on your motorcycle?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so did you make a decision on what you were going to set your cruise control at until you got out of Moapa and away from the police?
I oftenly do that, and I did so that day.
What did you set it at?
45.
Okay, did you keep that 45 constant until you passed the Sergeant Doty?
I did.
Okay. And when Sergeant Doty pulled you over, did you object to it?
Yes.
What did you tell him?
I said, I'm not being pulled over for speeding. And he said, yes, you are. I said, I was doing 45 and 45. My speed on my cruise control was set.
Okay. So were you speeding?
No,
Okay. It'd be pretty easy just to pay a citation, correct?
absolutely.
We could even get it reduced to illegal parking, correct?
Yes,
Why are you choosing to fight this today?
because I was not speeding.
Okay. Is this a matter of principle?
Absolutely.
Okay. Have you paid way more than $150 to just simply fight this ticket?
Yes,
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome.
All right, so exactly were you stopped?
Along that two-way road, I don't know what the highway name is. It's just exiting before I get to the freeway to head back into Vegas. It was along a few mountains.
Okay. And your testimony is that you had your cruise control set at 45?
Yes, from
Did
the
you-
lap.
Did you know you were in a 55?
No,
Okay.
I said at 45 just to be safe. Usually that's a common speed limit that I see. I didn't believe it would be a 55 being a two-way road where it was until I got to a freeway, possibly 55 or 65 then. But from the initial stop, when the other person got pulled over and I was free to go, from that point on, my speedometer was set from 45 till when the sergeant stopped me.
Okay. All right. Do you have any other questions?
No,
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Mr. Montes.
You solemnly swear the testimony about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
State your name and spell your last name. please.
Joshua Montes, Montes.
Mr. Montes, would it have been easy just to pay the $150 ticket?
I still feel that way.
All right, and even to get it reduced to 0 points, it wouldn't affect your record, correct? Okay. Why are you here today?
Number of things. I wasn't speeding and my rights were violated. I'm a veteran of the United States Army, disabled. I should not be treated that way
And you made that clear when you were pulled over. correct?
many of times,
Okay.
where he would call me argumentative.
Right. So when they called you argumentative, what were you arguing about?
Well, when they called me that, I said, in my mind, I'm like, if I don't stick up for my rights, who's going to? Because you're breaking my rights and you're supposed to abide by the law.
Did you call them any names?
Nope,
Were you disrespectful?
Nope.
Okay, you were simply standing up for your rights,
I
correct?
asked for water as well, and I was denied that, which I had in my saddlebags.
Did one of the officers, after you asked for water, do anything that, to kind of tease you or to be mean to you?
Well, he asked me if, he said he could go get it, and I said, no, then you're gonna search through my saddlebags, and I've already told you not to. And he said, well, then you're not gonna get water.
So he gave you a choice to either volunteer, if you would volunteer to let them search your saddlebags, he'd give you water, but if you wouldn't, then you're not going to get water.
Mhm.
Okay, and what was the temperature that day?
It was above 110.
Okay,
And I kept telling him, it's hot out here. I'm standing here in the middle of the sun for over an hour.
okay. So is your fighting this ticket partway just fighting the overall experience?
Yes,
Okay. And have you spent way more fighting the ticket than just simply the $150 and a reduction to illegal parking?
yes.
Okay. Why did you come into Moapa Valley on the 26th of July?
I went to a barbecue,
Okay. Did you go anywhere else besides the barbecue?
pulled into the gas station
Right.
and nothing, then we left.
You didn't want to mess with or be a part of anything else in Moapa. You just wanted to go to where you were invited and to leave, correct? Okay. As you were leaving, did somebody get pulled over?
Yes,
Okay. When that happened, did Mr. Silva stop also?
yes.
Did you stop there or did you stop further out?
I kept going and I stopped at the mortuary to wait for him.
Okay.
I saw him approaching, or excuse me, I saw two other cop cars approaching, two that were in there. They parked next to me. Mr. Silva started coming up. I waved him to go. I started to go after him, not after him, but like take off after he passed me. I let my clutch out too fast, so I stalled. I put it back in neutral, took off. This allowed him to gain distance between me and him from when we took off. I saw that he was going very slow, so I said, you know what, I'm gonna do the same thing because there's no reason for me to catch up to him. And with this cop present, so I stayed behind him. I stayed behind him the whole way. I knew the speed limit was 55. When we got up to the top, I knew he was gonna be there because when we came in, he was there. The same Dodge or the same Ford truck. I didn't see the face, but I saw the same Ford truck. So I was not speeding. When he came after us, I looked down, I was at 48 and a 55.
So because you let your clutch out and your bike had those issues, Mr. Silva was able to get far ahead of you, correct?
Mhm.
And then if I'm understanding you right, you tell me if this is correct. You then started to catch up to him little by little, but you still didn't want to speed while you're doing it, correct?
Wasn't little by little, I could still see him in my sights. That's all I was worried about, so that I could see him if anything was to happen. My intention was not to catch up to him. It was just to keep him in my plain view. I knew what was going on, and anything that would have happened, where even the speeding, it would have gave them to take us off our bikes.
So were you cognizant that there could be all kinds of other officers around?
Yes,
How many officers did you see?
I didn't count any, but they were on every side of the road. When we got to the gas station, I counted 5 there.
Okay.
Because there was 2 across, 1 in the back, and then 2 on the other side.
So were you being very careful not to violate traffic laws so you could just get out of there?
Yes,
Okay. And when you saw Sergeant Doty, did you look down at your speed?
yes.
Okay. Did you brake suddenly or do
No.
any braking maneuvers?
No, I did not.
Okay. What did you see your speed as?
48 when I looked down.
While you were still trying to catch up to Mr. Silva, correct?
Yes,
Now, you usually ride abreast, correct?
correct.
Right? But were you riding abreast at that time?
No,
Why not?
because I had stalled and he got in space between me, and we were, there was no reason to, with the cops there, there's no reason to break the laws.
Okay. And you saw the photo where there was the mile marker and then there was the 2 of you and there was some space in between, correct?
Mhm.
When you look at that photo, do you see abreast or do you see staggered?
Staggered.
Okay. Is it clear?
To my eyesight, it is.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, so how much time lapse? So he passes you, right? And you stall your bike. And then you were able to catch up to him where we saw in the photo where both headlights are in the photo, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And your testimony is you're doing 48 and caught him doing 45, is that it?
No. When I seen the police officer make motion, turn the lights on to come after us, I looked down and I was 48. I seen Silva going slow the whole time, so I maintained that same speed the whole time. I never tried to speed up to catch him.
Okay. And, all right. Okay. All right, I don't have it pretty clear.
Was that because you were afraid police were gonna pull you over and you just wanted to get out of it?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. No other witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead. Go into your closing argument.
When Your Honor saw the speed calculation portion, you said a couple things, and on the break, I decided to kind of run those numbers. I just want to show it to you. If I remember right, you tell me if I'm correct. You said that each dot, you thought it was closer to 12 inches, not 13, correct?
Somewhere between the 12 and the 13.
So between 12 and 13. You also said that you thought Mr. Montes traveled 11 dots and not 10, correct?
Yeah, but it was because the photo of that front wheel at an angle compared to straight on when he's there, looking at where the tire hits the
Right.
pavement. Yes.
So I just wanted to run the numbers with what you said.
Go ahead, you run them.
Okay, all right. If each dot is 12 inches, not 13, and he traveled 11 dots, that's 12 times 11. That is 132 inches traveled. But this time in 11 dots, not 10 dots, okay? 132 divided by 12. That is 11. Because there are 11 inches in a foot.
Got it.
Correct? All right. So then if we take that 11 and we have 5 frames that are the 1/6 each, we then multiply that by 6. That equals 66. 66 feet per second. And if we multiply 66 feet per second by the multiple, which is 0.681818, we get 44.999999999. Almost exactly 45 miles per hour. Again, that is what Mr. Silva told the cop at the very beginning when he objected. That has been his story. There was zero evidence of any deceleration, and they have stuck to that. And somehow the math, even not my math, my math was different. My observations were slightly different than Your Honor's. But with your observations, it comes even closer to 45 miles per hour. That cannot be a coincidence. I believe Sergeant Doty made human errors. I believe that he rushed. I believe that he was doing multiple things at one time. He could have stayed, got a solid reading, and then turned on his body cam, shifted, and followed him. There would have been no problems. Of course he could have followed him. He didn't. He rushed. He rushed, he moved his radar gun down. He rushed by turning on his camera and shifting. There was less than 1 second from the time that radar gun hit the top of the wheel to the time he turned on his body cam. And he testified that he turns on his body cam when he's about to pull someone over. That was his testimony. In that short period of time, he visually estimated the speed, which of course there's the paradox, and the parallel, all the stuff that we talked about how when it's so far away, that's just not credible. It's just not. Even he admitted. He admitted that he wasn't up on his game. He admitted closer to a 10 plus or minus. That means that according to him, even with it being so far away, if he's at 59, 10 plus or minus could put him at 49. Visual. Because human error. Now, evidently he got a reading Evidently, he brought it down. I mean, I don't believe he got a reading. If he had a reading, then it would have shown. It showed all the other parts, but it didn't show that. And even he said that when you press a second time, it moves the first one over. I would like you to look at the, it's the manual for the gun, page 6. If you could bring that up, please.
Is it in the exhibit folder?
It is. Oh, it's not in the exhibit folder. It's the one previous to that.
I can't find, you want to come show me?
Yes. So go out of this, put the arrow up. Right there, Stalker to SDR manual. Page 6. This is just confirming what he already testified to. Page 6. If you could just zoom in of the trigger part. Each time in number 3, each time the trigger is pressed, the target speed, the one on the left, is transferred to the locked speed window, replacing a previously locked speed if present. Press it again, it moves over. We can see on that shot, we can see, and you'll need to give this back to him. We can see these here. You can see them. So clearly, it should have been able to pick up if there was something in the target window, and clearly, if it was pressed again, because that was his explanation, maybe I pressed it again, it should have moved that over to here. We saw none of that. I'm not calling him a liar. I'm not. I'm calling him a human. I'm saying that he made an error. Maybe he thought he saw it. Maybe he was rushing so bad, he was just like, I think I saw 64. Maybe. In any case, there's enough here so that my clients are not guilty. And even if you don't think so, now, keep in mind, the burden of proof is always on the plaintiff. Now, it's more likely than not. I get that. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's like the shift here. The burden of proof is on the plaintiff, the state, in his citation of whether or not this is true. He made multiple errors in that citation. Even the time, the staggering, all of those things. And he placed in there their association with the Mongols Motorcycle Club. He clearly thought it was important for some reason. Either that or it was a message to you. One of the two things. Otherwise, why do it? He says, I put notes. Really? Really? There were people there from outside of Moapa Valley that had other intentions. I think that is abundantly clear. One of them is Sergeant Donaldson. There were other things going on. Mr. Silva was forced to take off his motorcycle helmet, go away from his motorcycle. They were patted down illegally. He said he was courteous. In order to pat down and not be a constitutional violation, you have to have reasonable suspicion that they are both armed and dangerous. There was nothing to say that they were armed, and there was nothing to say that they were dangerous. He said baggy clothes. Well, is that armed? There's a case there, and I will give you a copy here. The Cisneros case. The Cisneros case. May I?
Yeah.
2017. The argument by Metro in the federal court was that because they had baggy clothing and because they were members of the Mongols Motorcycle Club, they were allowed to pat down Mr. Cisneros. And the federal courts shut that down. Excuse me. At page 33, to justify a protective pat down during a Terry stop, the officer must be able to point to specific and articulable facts that the individual.
Sorry, what page are you
Oh,
on?
page 33 of the case. I think it says in the printout, it'll have a darkened asterisk 33. May I? I'm not sure if it's the page or the.
Well, I know, yeah, I know where you're at. 32, got it.
Okay.
Okay.
To justify a protected pat down during a Terry stop, the officer must be able to point to specific and articulable facts that the individual, and I might add, not the group, the individual is armed and presents a risk of harm to the officer or to others. They then talk about some other things. Then at page 39, a Terry frisk for weapons is permitted based on a reasonable belief or suspicion directed at the person to be frisked. The fact that Cisneros is wearing a Mongols vest is insufficient to establish reasonable suspicion that Cisneros is armed and dangerous. This is from 2017. These gentlemen were patted down. These gentlemen were then ordered to take off their helmets. Mr. Montes decided not to. He defied their order. Mr. Silva complied with their order to take off the helmets. And then they took multiple pictures of both of them, including making Mr. Silva bring up some of his clothing so that they could see more of his tattoos. They were treated differently because of their associations. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals and the Nevada Supreme Court. Burgess v. Story County at 859. This is a situation to where Mr. Burgess had associations with the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, which everybody agrees is the same type of motorcycle club as the Mongols Motorcycle Club. And there is First Amendment issues here that the court makes abundantly clear. The same rights that Mr. Montes fought for. At 859, the United States Supreme Court has stated that all Americans have a right to associate for the purposes of engaging in those activities protected by the First Amendment: speech, assembly, petition to redress grievances, and the exercise of religion. The Constitution guarantees freedom of association of this kind as an indispensable means of preserving other individual liberties. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has recognized an individual's First Amendment right to associate with, and they say, the Hells Angels. They are exercising their First Amendment rights, and Sergeant Doty even admitted that he was there and they were radioing, hey, there's 2 motorcycles coming. Now, just human nature. If you've got these guys from intelligence and this is happening and all this is happening, I mean, do you want to be a part of that, or do you want to be the guy that let him go? Now, I'm not saying purposely did it. I'm not. But with all these mistakes, everything going on, and clearly intelligence violating their rights in many levels, right? I believe Sergeant Doty rushed it and made errors. And I wish we could come up with math and science and speed calculations from the video. I wish that was possible, but it's not. We tried, right? I wish we could. The best we could come up with is what we have, which is consistent with what Mr. Silva was saying the entire time. Your Honor, Yick Wo v. Hopkins, an 1886 case. So for 150 yards, the law has been clear that even if a law is neutral, speeding law, do you know what? It doesn't matter what law. It doesn't matter how minor. We're talking about constitutional rights here. Even if the law is neutral, if it is enforced in a discriminatory way, the enforcement is void. I believe we've met our burden. Even if Your Honor decides we didn't meet our burden. Actually, I believe the state didn't meet their burden and that we refuted their burden. We rebutted what they put up. But even if that is, what happened here is wrong and was very discriminatory simply because of their associations. They didn't come here to cause trouble. They came here to go to a barbecue with one of your residents that invited them. That's all they wanted, was to go, accept the invitation, enjoy themselves, and leave. That's all they wanted to do. Let me tell you, are they less likely now to do that than they were before because of how they were treated and all the constitutional violations that went along with it? Well, yeah. And that's a freedom of liberty violation. If police act in a way that it makes someone less likely to exercise their constitutional rights in the future, that's a problem. Yick Wo v. Hopkins. That has been the law from the United States Supreme Court since 1886. Marbury versus Madison was the first one that say that if an enforcement action is contrary to the Constitution, the laws applied is void. I would present to Your Honor that freedom of association being so fundamental to the Constitution, I would submit that they were targeted. You saw he wasn't moving his gun, it was up more towards the air. You saw that. The only time he aimed, the only time he did that is when Mr. Silva and Mr. Montes came. Cars passed. There's even a car at the beginning of the video coming this way. He wasn't aiming. He had it up. Sergeant Doty, because everybody was there, what would have happened if he caught that other car speeding or even tried? And like, hey, I pulled over the car in front of the Mongols instead of the Mongols. I know you guys made this big trip here, and I know there's 15 extra officers here, specifically to gain intelligence on the Mongols, but I decided to enforce the law against the first person that passed me. Instead, that's not what he did. Watch the beginning of the video. You see an SUV traveling by, and their speed looks very similar to Mr. Silva's and Mr. Montes. But the gun's still pointing towards the sky. Not on the street, not aimed. He wasn't actively trying to see what happens. No, he let them pass. He decided, these people, I'm gonna let them go to see if I can get them. Why? Because intelligence came, brought 15 officers in order to gain all this intelligence against them. And you want to please people. That's human nature. Think of anything. You want to please them, so you're going to ignore everything else. There's a freedom of association in our Nevada Constitution too. And the Nevada Constitution is allowed to provide extra protections versus the United States Constitution. If the Nevada Supreme Court specifically says that the First Amendment to the US Constitution protects their associations, again, not alleged to do any crimes, their associations, then what do you think they might say about the Nevada Constitution? And Burgess doesn't say it's absolute though. There's actually, if you find that they might have been discriminated against by all the police, because that counts, because of their association, there's actually a test for that. It's strict scrutiny. It's in the Burgess case. He says that's not absolute though. If the state provides a compelling state interest and their actions are narrowly tailored to accomplish that interest, that is not, it says specifically, not related to their association, then they're actually allowed to treat them different because of their association. What's the compelling state interest here? If it was speeding, he would have tried to pull over, or at least checked. At least have your gun aimed towards the vehicle that's coming at the very beginning of his body camera. He had none of that. The state cannot meet its burden. Right, we talked about the traffic citation. If you find that we did not meet the burden there, it has to go to the equal protection with the Woe case, and it has to go to whether or not, in totality, they were discriminated against in violation of their First Amendment rights. And you can't say, hey, one officer didn't. No, it's the totality. He was there, his officers were there, everybody was there. This is their specific burden in Burgess. Strict scrutiny, whether their actions are okay. Your Honor, Sergeant Doty made a mistake. Probably human nature. I don't really know exactly what it is, but I believe we've presented enough for you to dismiss this charge. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let me be very clear, this case isn't about the freedom of speech or whether or not, I know you've made argument whether or not the 1 to 10 is being unconstitutionally applied in general, or that when you talk about strict scrutiny, you're talking about where a law infringes on your constitutional right, and therefore it has to be narrowly tailored to try to ease up on the infringement of the rights when you're dealing with direct right. Here we're dealing with speeding, 1 to 10. Mr. Doty or Sergeant Doty wasn't part of the pat down, wasn't part of the questioning, the pictures or whatever was as he was typing up the tickets. He gave his explanation, but so when I look at what I'm looking at is 51, right? 49 is there evidence that supports the citation? Is there evidence there? And the most important evidence was Sergeant Doty. When I asked him, I said, did you, based on what you saw in the video, now based on what happened that day, did you get a good lock on the motorcycles? And he said, yes, I got a good lock on the motorcycles and dealing with their speed. And so I do believe that the state, or not the state, that the evidence supports the finding that in fact they were doing the 1 to 10, cited for 5 over the speed limit. And like I said, I'm not considering their First Amendment rights. I'm not considering the violation after the fact or what was occurred. I'm talking about the evidence that was presented dealing with the citation itself. I did consider the stuff that you pointed out dealing with the bias. I let all that in, listened to it with regards to the meeting. What was, if there was some hidden agenda, something like, you know, to support this bias against this organization. I allowed that questioning with regards to what was discussed at the meeting. I let that all come in because I was curious to find out what was I dealing with, what was to make sure that this stop was legit. I'm always concerned about a traffic stop, always, to make sure that there's PC, probable cause, right, for that stop. And listening to Mr. Doty's. Now, I saw the evidence. You did a great job with regards to the evidence. I mean, the video, I've never seen anybody do that. To then the math and the correct. The problem I had was I thought when you're presenting it, you were going to do it, what I was looking for, where the alleged citation occurred, right? That's why I was saying, where's that starting point, stopping point? Because then that's real relevant to me. If in fact you had that where you could prove the bike traveled so far at the time that they're radar, not when they come passing by the patrol vehicle. And even then, the angle, I was having troubles, but yes, your math, even when you take mine, but I thought, you know, the distance was shorter, but more was covered. In essence, it canceled out. When you did the math, it appears based on, you know, when they're traveling past the patrol car, based on the math and making some assumptions, it does appear that they were doing 45 miles per hour as they stated. But I have an officer Whose gun was calibrated. It's a gun that's allowed to be used in the state of Nevada. There was an objection to the make and the model of the gun. That in fact, I assume is on the list that's allowed to be used. Otherwise, I'm sure you would have jumped all over it. But I have a trained officer who said got a good leak, and you could hear it. Now, was it concerning that I couldn't see the number, but I couldn't see anything, and all I could see was some black marks up at the top where they are at. I don't know if it was rolled over. I couldn't tell what was up there. I could identify that there were the black 3 marks. What it was saying, I don't know. I didn't know if it had the prior one, but I heard the radar go off. The officer testified that was a noise that would do a freeway speed, was the testimony. I personally heard the
You said
radar. Highway, sorry, yeah, highway.
Highways.
I was saying, I heard the gun go off, so there was a lock, and it was a steady, beep. And he indicated that was the noise of the radar lock on the vehicle.
I don't believe he said that, Your Honor. He said when it's making some kind of a reading, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that he never, I would have asked him, he never testified that means that it
I'm sorry, those
actually.
are my words, not lock like physical lock, meaning kind of a lock, a radar lock, meaning he's getting a read off the vehicles, and therefore it's making a noise saying we've got a read on the vehicle. To me, that's a lock, and I get it with this gun, you can lock it, unlock it, so maybe that's the wrong word. He was getting an active read based on the noise that was coming from the radar. So, the fact that I can't read it, I know there's something there because it is getting a read. He did get a read. I can't see on the screen. I can't see anything. It's just blacked out. I can't see. Would have I liked to see that? Absolutely. However, and like I said, this isn't beyond reasonable doubt. We've got a whole different story. We're in a whole different story if this is beyond reasonable doubt. Right? I mean, you definitely have made that clear of possibilities, but when I look at it, I take a totality of the circumstances and I weigh it, and I find that that the evidence does support the citation of the ticket. Okay? And that's on both tickets. And I'll get that done. You have 7 days after I do the order to appeal it. And so with that, with the other case that you have, sorry.
Are they forfeiting the full 150?
Your Honor, may I ask?
Yeah,
The other case is being appealed,
okay,
and it's being appealed specifically on the issue of whether the equal protection and the First Amendment rights should be considered. You've said here you didn't consider it. And we've got that case that is being appealed on that specific issue for just that, nothing more, before it comes back to this court. May I ask that you withhold your ruling until that appeal happens to see if you should consider the equal protection in the First Amendment in this case, and then make a ruling based on that appeal on the Tamias case?
well, we're talking about you're talking about the stuff after the site, after he's pulled them over, that other officers are doing, that Sergeant Doty had nothing to do with, right? And so that's why, you see what I'm saying? Sergeant Doty had nothing to do, didn't even know about the picture taking, or didn't even know if there was a pat down. He was in writing the 2 citations, testified it was hot, and then he was getting out. So what I had was a witness that, I'm not gonna guess, I had a witness that's testifying. This is what
based on what he testified that he did not, there were other cars, and he did not attempt to make readings on those cars. You saw it on there. If he did not attempt to make a reading on a car.
Well, he explained it though. There was one car, it was coming from his back, not at him. And it passed by him and he looked at it, right? But
what about the other car? I mentioned that in my closing, and you have the evidence here. The other car that came this way. Well, this is what I'm simply asking, that you withhold your ruling until we can appeal on whether Your Honor should consider the equal protection and the First Amendment violations. Either the court is going to say yes, or the court is going to say no. And if the court says yes, then I believe you should apply that here.
To determine, see, the case, like the cases you're citing and stuff, the evidence that came was that was then used to charge that defendant. That was the constitutional violation, right? And therefore, the fruit of the tree of the poisonous tree.
No.
Yeah, you're talking about the gun, unreasonable pat down.
Okay, so that's the pat down. That's not right. I'm talking about Burgess.
So the violation occurs that responded to the gun. What the officer testified is he got to read at 60, visualize at 59, got to read at 64. And at that point, he's responding like he does to every traffic ticket. You're not alleging it. That was a violation of their First Amendment or that is.
Well, you have made it very clear, Your Honor, that you believe that the state met their burden.
Yes.
Right there. Okay. The next step, which Your Honor stated, this case is not about that. Your Honor has said you are not making that ruling.
After
right?
the fact.
Right. But
after the fact,
but the evidence before Your Honor is not just the car that went from back to front. In my code, I specifically put it on the record. All you have to do is watch the evidence of the car moving this way that Sergeant Doty did not even attempt to get a reading on. He didn't even attempt. If he is not attempting to do readings on anybody else at that time, because he hears on the radio, the motorcycles are coming, and specifically because of their association with the Mongols Motorcycle Club, he is only applying the speeding violations to them. Now, you said it's irrelevant. Okay,
No.
Maybe the court is going to say otherwise with the Tanius appeal. I'm just asking if you will pause for that appeal to happen. They're going to say whether you should consider it or you should not consider it. They are going to make that decision. If they say you should not consider it, I get it, right? If they say you should consider it, I would ask that you look at the first 15 seconds of the video, see that Sergeant Doty, just like I said in my closing, did not even attempt to get a reading on the car coming this way, and consider it.
But he did testify that he had written out tickets prior to their ticket and he had written out tickets after their tickets.
What, when the Mongols left?
I don't know.
So, like,
I don't know if they
before or
left all
after?
at once. This was a
Right.
group of two, right?
But I've got a body cam that shows a car going this way and he doesn't even attempt. And he testified, he explained the other one, but
Yeah, I
there's,
should have asked him. Maybe he saw that the car was doing 45. I have no idea. I'm not
you
gonna
can
guess.
look at this gun pointed towards the sky.
I saw
Okay,
that, but I don't know what was going on in his head. Why I didn't. I just heard this testimony was he had written out tickets just prior to this and written out tickets after this.
Okay.
So
I will simply appeal this one the same as the Tanius
Okay.
to see if you should consider those things which you said you did not consider.
I
Respect.
yeah, I wasn't looking at to see if after the citation and while after the offense alleged to occur, I'm looking at the facts leading up to see if there's probable cause. Then what was the evidence that was supplied dealing with whether or not they were speeding? That's what this case is about. It's not a First Amendment case.
That's what she said. I
That's
disagree,
what I'm
and
saying.
we'll see what the higher court says.
Okay.
Respect.
All right. It was a measure meeting you, council. It's also a pleasure meeting you guys. I hope this doesn't deter you guys from coming out here. This is a friendly bike town. It bothers me that's the feeling that came across or whatever, that to hear that some of this, we encourage people to come out here and ride. Yeah, so just that statement, you don't need to.
It's
Okay, all right.